Live. Hey everybody, it's Dan Latto speaking. Hope you're well today. Today is Saturday the 18th of April and we are in day 36 of our Spanish lockdown. We've done 5 weeks here at Villa. It seems to have gone very quickly and very slowly all at the same time, and I'm sure for everybody else who's on lockdown right now, you're feeling the same. Everything's goes very fast, and at the same time it kind of goes really slow all at the same time. It's all a very weird situation that we're living in, isn't it? Now, I just actually recorded a video about some of the things that I see other people doing, Netflix and chill, whatever that happens to be, to get you through this. I think that's fine. But one of the things I was thinking about was how people, when this is finished, they just go back to work and everything's just the same. And that normal for me wasn't and isn't good enough. You know, we're going to go back to normal. NHS is going to be underfunded again. We're going to blame foreigners again for everything. What else are we going to do? We're going to have loads of homeless people on the streets. Well, unless they've died. That's not good enough. It just bothers me. It bothers me. It has bothered me for quite some time, and yet here we are. Hopefully that might change when we go back. But I can't do much about any of that stuff. I just can't do anything about it, and neither can you to some extent. There's not that much we can do, but what we can do is that we can affect our own lifestyles and the way that we change when we go back to normality, whatever that is. And so if you're enjoying more time at home, which you might be, you need to find a way of getting more time at home. If you're really not enjoying more time at home, you need to find a way of not being at home as much, and that might mean separation for some people. Who knows? Some people might be, oh my gosh, I was reading yesterday, a woman moved in with a guy and they've been dating for like a month and now they're living together in quarantine, and you're like, if that relationship survives this, they'll survive marriage. Do you know what I mean? So, and obviously everyone's having their own experience. You know, if you're locked in a little flat, you're having one type of experience. If you've got 14 kids, you're having a different type of experience. If you've got a garden, you've got a different type of experience. And everyone's got different types of experiences. And so when we look at our experience here, it's like, what have we learned? And one of the things I've learned is I need to be more patient with myself for a start. That's absolutely for sure. The other thing I've learned is that my wife has so much patience. I definitely married well, that's for sure as well. But also, we've got cash coming in from training courses and online coaching and from rent, and we're not having to go to work. And that for me has been one of the massive breakthroughs that we've had, kind of this realization that not only did we make the right plays 20 years ago when I started buying property, but also when we started creating training courses that people could buy and consume online on their little mobile device, that was absolutely the right thing to do as well. And in fact, the plan this year was to make lots more training courses, and when Corona hit, everyone's at home, it makes it much more harder to make those training courses, speaking to camera and so on. So we kind of got stalled on that. We've got a new camera, and so actually next week we're going to start creating more training courses. But one of the wonderful things that we found was that we were generating cash online like at the start of February, effectively, and that's moved into April where we are now, and that's proven to be a very good decision. Luck more than anything, and it's one of those crazy things where you've been meaning to do it for ages and ages and ages, and we just never quite got round to doing it because Star Wars came out or Frozen 2 or whatever. Life just gets in the way, so we put stuff off that actually would have served us very well if we'd have just kept up with that. And so that's what we need to do now. And I would suggest that's what you need to do as well. What if this happens again? And what if something different happens that takes you out of the game in a different way? Like, nobody knows really what's going to happen. And so we owe it to ourselves to think about what are we going to do to make a change in our own lives so that we never have to go through this again. Like, in such a way. If you haven't got money coming in, you're worried about your rent or your mortgage or your car payments or your credit card bills, like, you shouldn't have car payments. You shouldn't have credit card bills. You should have a mortgage. And if you're renting, fine, you rent it. We rent our villa here. We think renting your main home is a great idea because the 90 grand that we need to put down as a deposit to buy this place, I could put that into 3 or 4 different investments that'll pay us a lot more money than we'd get from putting that money into this. It just disappears. And so we like that as an idea. We think that's a great idea to do. And so actually our job, not only while we're here in lockdown, but also after we leave lockdown, is to generate cash and move more of that cash over to more assets. Anything that puts money in your pocket is going to be a good thing. and paying down the credit cards, and people go, well, I've got 25 grand, I can't pay that down. Honestly, when you pay down 25 grand's worth of credit card, I know how that feels. 80 grand we paid down at some point in the past. I know how hard that feels and what a mountain that feels, but I also know the feeling on the other side when you actually get to do it, and all your income, all your debt rather is paid off. We know how difficult it is, but we also know what it feels like on the other side. And I would implore that you go out of your way to make that happen as well. We don't want this to happen again, but this thing that's happened is really out of our control. It's how we react to it and the position that we are in when we went into this situation. That's what counts. And if the situation that you're in right now isn't the best situation, now is the time you need to start thinking about, what am I going to do to make a different decision and start putting some things differently. So I just want to clear up a couple of things about the Spanish lockdown. I know the UK press is saying, oh, the Spanish lockdown is lifted. It is absolutely not lifted. We are not allowed out of our front gate, which is over there somewhere down there. We are not allowed out. If you get stopped by the police, you will get fined. You're allowed to walk your dog. You're not allowed to run. You're not allowed to exercise. You're not allowed to walk in the park. None of this light stuff that's going on in the UK. You are not allowed out your house, out of your flat. And if you're living in a multi-flat complex, you're not allowed into the communal area either. We've got helicopters floating over to spot people, and they'll call the police, and you get fined. And I know that the UK press, my mum and dad said, oh, it's been lifted, hasn't it? And we're like, no, we wish, definitely not been lifted. If you've got any comments, by the way, I'm just checking the screen here. You can put your comments in there. But the Spanish lockdown has not been lifted. It was just lifted slightly for some extra key workers. You can't go to the gym. You can't go to any normal shops, cinema. The only thing you can do is go to the supermarket and the chemist and probably the vets maybe, and that's it. Everything else is shut. There's no sports shops open. You can buy stuff on Amazon. We just bought a new camera, for example. Food, but that's it. There is still a Spanish lockdown, despite what the UK press happens to be saying. So in terms of lockdown, in terms of how we're surviving, we're doing all right. We have different areas that we can play. We've got an area here. The pool's not warm enough, unfortunately, but we're here till at least May the 10th, and there's a good chance that actually that might be warm enough. Who knows? I've yet to clean the pool, although it's looking bluer than it did a month ago, which was very dark green. It looked like Shrek's swamp. But we've got different areas. We've got another area just around the side there with a little basketball thing, and a little one learns to ride a bike, and we play hide the ball because we've got a 5-year-old. So we're doing all right. We're surviving. It's gone very fast this last 5 weeks. It's gone like that when I think about it. And then when I think about the next 3 weeks, like, oh, it's going to take ages. And then before we know it, we'll be up and we'll be out, hopefully. I think the schools are going to be closed till at least September. We're supposed to be in the UK in July. I doubt that's going to happen, quite honestly. We're supposed to be in France in July on a holiday. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the lockdown is going to continue for quite some time. So you just got to get used to it. And while you're used to it, get into some sort of routine, get yourself learning something if you can. I'm sat at my desk most days and I'm still learning. I'm still buying courses and I'm still training. And then I'm translating what I know into actionable stuff that is getting me results. And actually some of those actionable results are selling more of our stuff, which is brilliant. We're putting £1 in, we're getting £7 back right now, which is amazing. We're testing it and scaling it, and that's what we're learning. So we're still continually learning skills, and I think that's what you should be doing too, if it's appropriate for you to do so. If you're struggling mentally, with some mental health issues, then you need to do what you need to do to survive. That's more important right now than learning how to scuba dive or hold your breath for 4 minutes or learn Chinese or Spanish or Dutch or whatever it is that you're doing. I think survival right now is absolutely key, and we're in it for the long term. The thing that's going to be weird is when all this is lifted and we can go out, and I ain't touching anybody. I ain't shaking. I mean, I didn't like shaking hands before. When people shake your hand, I don't want to shake your hand. I don't know where that hand's been. I've got a good idea, but I don't want to touch it. I don't want to shake anyone's hand. I've been like that for about 5 years, I reckon. Increasingly didn't want to shake hands. And boy, that's never going to happen now I go out. I mean, it's elbows, as far as I'm concerned. Yep, that's fine. I always remember, was it a James Bond film? And he just wouldn't shake someone's hand. He's a touch freak, as they were called. That's me. I ain't touching anyone. And no kissing, no hugging like we're doing in Spain. Like when this thing is lifted and we go out into the real world, I'm still not hanging around people. Anyway, so that's the update. I hope that's useful. I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into what's actually going on and my kind of thoughts around this. Other than that, we'll catch up with you later on. We're going to go test out the rest of the functions on the camera. Wanted to go live and see how that went, and we'll review that. Other than that, we'll speak to you soon. My name's Dan Latto. Take care.